It rained a tad last night. We have lakeside views, you could say. And a foggy morning. We're going across to Nova Scotia by ferry this morning. I don't think we'll see much unless a miracle occurs and the fog lifts. Just driving out of our lakeside caravan park. Are you getting a good view? I wonder. Perhaps not. There's a sad looking moose. These are what they call the reversing falls. Most dramatic at the turns of the tide, much like our horizontal falls in the Kimberley, only much bigger of course. Can you imagine what it would be like when it was low? Wow. I just saw a shag land in the water. Here's another one coming through. They seem to land and then take the flow of the water backwards. You might be able to... Here goes one now. See? Oh, he's gone frontwards. Oh no, he's turned round. What fun for it to be a shag and just let the water do the work for you. We had great fun watching this little hummingbird flitting around. You might just pick up the seals poking up now and again, fishing. Just pick up the lights of a huge big power station. We saw it coming in, didn't we, yesterday? Didn't realise we were that close to these falls. There's two seals. We're in a queue to go onto the ferry island. There's a few of us in front. The ferry must take a lot of cars, it must be huge. And over here, you could say we've got our motorcycle escort to take us on board. You might just see the ferry through the mist, past the people chatting, catching up before we go on board. We're all fascinated watching our official camera crew film a clip for their documentary.
Time, and they tell me it's going to be stunning. So stay tuned when we show you the Princess of Arcadia.
After 100 metres, take the ferry, St John Digby.
Filming us.
Take the ferry, St John Digby.
I assume you do. The front's just going down the bow, rather. Whatever you call that thing, it's going down. Somewhere out there. Underway. With all our faith in radars at the moment, I suspect. There's our captain up there. I'm not sure how he's going to communicate to the captain in time to avoid a collision if there's anything out there. We're coming into Digby now.
Well, we spent 3 hours on the ferry, being in fog. Fantastic. But here we've got some land. Over here's Digby, is where we're going to go ashore.
Those structures in front of the ship are fish farms.
Winch to pull it over.
I've been told that they have a huge motorbike gathering here over this weekend. They call themselves Many of the roads were closed because of the motorbikes and festivities in town. Once we'd restocked at the local supermarket, we decided to hot-foot it out of town and head to Annapolis. Smith's Cove, if you can see it in the fog. Getting a good view of Nova Scotia, guys. We're planning to go and visit Fort Anne before we set up camp. There's a pile of cannonballs for you at the Fort Anne historical site. Look at the magnificent colours in these old tapestries. They're as bright as the day they were produced, I think. Quite spectacular. This is one of the last 2 copies of the charter that was issued to Sir William Alexander by King James in 1621. They've even got clocks here. Between 1701 and 1710, Port Royal was Arcadia's centre of French society, government and commerce. Then during the late 1700s, English-speaking people became the majority in Nova Scotia. Between 1713 and 1749, Annapolis Royal was the capital and major centre of British society in Nova Scotia. The town, a small British enclave surrounded by an Arcadian farming area, included officers, soldiers, civic officials and their families, and a few civilians such as traders and tavern keepers. This is part of the fortification wall, with the moat on the other side of it, or a ditch, so that the enemy would only see the top of the walls, and it would be difficult for them to get a clear shot at the walls without coming up very close. Built by the French in 1708, the powder magazine was used to store the fort's gunpowder. It's the only surviving building from the French period. This is it here. Forts like this are called bastion forts after one of their principal parts, the bastion. The fort shape creates areas of crossfire which allow the land surrounding the fort to be more easily defended. From the late 1600s to the 1800s, this type of fort was constructed at hundreds of locations through Europe and North America.
Well, you wouldn't stand near it. You'd have a little wind, you'd light it, and you'd run away because it's probably kicked back
Several cars on my side. You can go, clear. We're driving through the town of Annapolis now, heading to our caravan park at the Cove campground. It's John. The early comers already had a fire lit for us by the time we got to camp. Look at that fog. It's rolling in. Sitting around the campfire for a little bit longer before we retreat as the fog rolls in. I made the salad with my little white hands.
And I made the lasagna.
He heated up the lasagna. Michelangelo made it. As we leave, I'll photograph the photographer. We're setting off to drive across the island and eventually to Halifax.